The stock of the day is brought to you by IG, Australia's #1 CFD provider. With over 17,000 markets and extended trading hours, turn US earnings season volatility into opportunity. Get started at IG.com.
So our stock of the day, and we pick stock of the day usually with a company that has news flow around it, but this is sort of a two for the price of one when it comes to Karoon. So Karoon shares are jumping. It did make a successful bid to secure 100% of interests in 6 blocks in the Santos Basin. So that's offshore Brazil. Its managing director, Julian Fowle, is saying that it's further strengthening the company's presence in the basin. The terms of the bid include a bonus payment of approximately $14.8 million US. But of course, Karoon is one of the few, if not the only stocks on the ASX that is directly leveraged to the oil price. It is an oil producer, not LNG, oil producer. And so oftentimes where goes the price of oil goes the price of Karoon Energy. So I'm looking for a fundamental and technical view of Karoon Energy because it could potentially be in a sweet spot right now if we do see the price of oil rising.
Oh, most definitely. I mean, if you look at the technicals of Karoon, when it broke above 170, there it is on the chart there that Michael's provided, that was a major resistance level, so that's significant. This would be a buy on any pullback. So it's a hold at best at the moment. I wouldn't be chasing it. I'd be looking for a slight pullback here. I'd be very surprised if it got back to 170, but anywhere between 180, 190, I think, is a buy on Karoon. But look, the fundamentals are improving, especially if they got where the oil price is. They're unhedged. They produce, I think it's about 10 million barrels of oil. So, you know, they're really, you know, going gangbusters right now. Look at that low at the 120. That was a double bottom down there, and it's just gone straight up since then. So that was exceptional value at 120 on a PE of about 3 or 4 times. So even the PE right now is around only 8 times. So, you know, any of the oil majors, and as you know, Santos is under a takeover bid. Be surprised if that goes through with the Foreign Investment Review Board. But I've always liked Karoon, and I think there's a lot more upside here.
Good,
Yeah.
but just waiting for a bit of a pullback today might not be the day. What is that chart saying to you, Michael?
Yeah, same view. You know, David mentioned the breakout above 170. It's interesting to note that happened days before, you know,
the worst of this Middle East conflict.
So it wasn't because of that. You know, in some respects, what's happened between Iran and Israel has sort of ruined the short-term dynamics of the oil trade because, you know, it's just introduced all this volatility, and I think it, you know, Karoon and oil was going up anyway. What it's done is just, you know, given it a bit of extra volatility in the short term. So you don't want to chase that. As David mentioned, if you can get it on a pullback, that would be better. I agree. I don't think it's going to go back to $1.70. But yeah, ultimately it'll head higher with the oil price. And why I say it was going to do this anyway before the current situation in the Middle East is because, yeah, I think there's been a supply issue with oil for a while anyway. So oil companies have not been investing in new oil fields. There hasn't been any capital going into that sector. Oil companies have been buying back shares in the US. Money's been flowing into tech. You know, the amount of money invested in oil companies as a percentage of the rest of the market is at a record low. And we're now seeing production, the shales in the US starting to roll over. We've seen some of those companies indicate that, you know, potentially they're reaching peak production. So all of this points to supply issues over the next few years, and that'll drive the price of oil higher.
Yeah, and world oil demand is expected to keep growing this decade despite hitting that peak in 2027 in China, and that just came out today. That's from the EIA. All right, that was the stock of the day. Karoon, solid hold, but with potential.
The stock of the day was brought to you by IG. Turn volatility into opportunity this US earnings season with extended trading hours on over 110 key US shares. Get started at IG.com.